a lot of us talk about self-improvement and growth and being a self-improvement junkie, and we'll put the posts up of nothing grows inside the comfort zone. I love it. I'm all about that. But my question is, how often are you actually getting out of your comfort zone?
I think getting outside your comfort zone, I think it sucks, but I think it's worth it. But I do think we have to acknowledge that it sucks. I think a lot of people try to make it sound like it's awesome, and I think that's doing people a disservice. It's not awesome. It's terrible.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode. It was last week's live podcast, episode number 1030, why you should stop running from your past. Today, for episode number 1031, we are going to do an episode, and it is called this: how often are you actually getting out of your comfort zone? So I am currently on our HOUR 15 or 16 on the day, so I'm a little delusional. We just got off our group coaching. I was on 5 podcasts today, so everything's going to be fine. I might be a little bit giggly, but we're going to bring the value. Okay, we did group coaching today, and one of the intentions for many of the members was to get out of their comfort zone. And after we did group coaching, Alan and I usually do a debrief. He was uploading the Zoom file. So I was thinking to myself, how many people have systems in place where they are constantly and consistently getting out of their comfort zone? I was on 4 podcasts or 5 podcasts today, and every single one of them, before I went on, I was like, wow, this is outside of my comfort zone. Even though I've done so many podcasts, one of them was with somebody who's a very successful business owner. The other one was somebody who has studied continuous improvement for like 30 years, worked in organizations, and I found myself getting a little bit of imposter syndrome. All the episodes went really, really, really well. But I have realized now, and this was one of the questions I got today, Alan, did we get this on I think we got this on the Q&A last night, but whether it was that or the podcast, I don't know. Somebody asked me, what has helped you get to the level that you're at? And I said, well, Alan has opened doors for me and then kind of pushed me through them. Gently, not in a negative way. Mm-hmm. When I've worked with Alan, I've always had the opportunity and the necessity to get outside of my comfort zone every single day. Every single day. I mean, there are systems in place where we're going to do another round of group coaching. Whether you like it or not, it's going to happen in 3 months. So that's me getting outside of my comfort zone. We're going to do the retreat when it happens. We're going to do another speaking engagement or another live event when it happens. Like, I don't know how many people, and this is me genuinely curious. I'm not accusing if you're out there listening to this. I really want to know, and I really want you to think about this. Number one, when is the last time I got outside of my comfort zone? When is the next time I'm going to get outside of my comfort zone? And what system do I have in place to make sure I'm doing that? I wonder to myself, particularly for me, if I didn't have this podcast, if I didn't have being on other podcasts, if I didn't have the business, if I didn't have Alan, would I have a system in place where I say, oh, you know what? It's been 2 weeks. It's been a week. It's been 3 weeks since I got outside of my comfort zone. And I don't think I would have that system. And here's why. I look back, and I've told this story before, but it's been a long time. I remember I was working in New Jersey, and I got a text message from my buddy, shout out to Cope Daddy, and he messaged me and said, hey, for some reason, flights to England are like 50% off right now. I know you said you wanted to get outside of your comfort zone and go to England. If you're going to do it, now is the time. I'm going. Book your flight. And that was such a huge part of my life and my growth because I got so far outside of my comfort zone. But that never would have happened if that was kind of like the right place at the right time with the right amount of confidence. It wasn't like I had a system where it's like, okay, this week I'm going to get outside of my comfort zone X amount of times. Right? That wasn't really something I had. I had that early where I would write down the number of fears I chased. That's something I journaled about for a while, but that fell off. That didn't stay. So I just wonder, a lot of us talk about self-improvement and growth and being a self-improvement junkie and, we'll put the posts up of nothing grows inside the comfort zone. I love it. I'm all about that. But my question is, how often are you actually getting out of your comfort zone? And what are you doing to ensure that that happens? That is what I got from group coaching tonight, because everybody in group coaching said, this is way outside of my comfort zone. So they came to the understanding of, I want to grow more and I want to get outside of my comfort zone. Here's an opportunity presented to me. I'm going to get outside of my comfort zone. And then the intentions that many people set was to continue to get outside of my comfort zone. So that just made me wonder how many people out there are consistently doing that. And that was where the motivation, inspiration from this episode came from.
Well, I think let's contemplate some questions here. One of the things that jumped off the page for me, Kev, when you were talking is like, well, why am I not always, but why am I consistently getting outside my comfort zone? And my answer is my goals required it of me.
Yeah. But I think your comfort zone is so much different. Kind of.
What do you mean?
Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how afraid of speaking on a stage are you? Like, if we're being real.
Let me share this story.
Please.
Emilia and I have a spot we go to, and it's kind of like a pond. And it's amongst the cliffs. And
I'm going to put the GPS coordinates in the show notes so people find it.
Please do. It's our sacred spot is what we call it. It's this really special place. And I go swimming whenever we go there. And you can't see to the bottom, and it's like really dark. And underneath these cliffs, it's like imagine swimming toward cliffs and you feel so small. It's like inexplicable how big these cliffs are in comparison to you when you're swimming at the bottom of them. And if you can hear Tucker in the background, by the way, he wants to hang out with his dad because it's 8:44 p.m. and usually we hang out at this point. But anyways, so I remember being genuinely scared last time I went there. Emilia and Tucker were there with me, and I remember thinking to myself, like, well, I have to go over there. I was swimming right near Emilia and in the shallows, and I'm like, I can't not go over there. And I'm, just so everyone's aware, I am scared of snapping turtles. Every time I've ever swam in the ocean, I've always been pretty scared, at least to some extent, especially when I swim out in the deep end. Because there's something about not knowing what's beneath you that's just scary.
Yeah, of course.
Very scary for me. I'll also share this. I was at the lake this past weekend, and I was doing laps with Emilia, and I was with her for the first 28 laps. I think she said, let's do our age in laps. She's 27, I'm 33, so I'm like, okay, let's do it. And so she wasn't there for the last 6 laps, and I was a little bit nervous. And why? Because I can't see what's underneath me. Now, I'm not freaking out and having a panic attack out there. Like, I'm fine. I've swum in a lake my whole life. But there's a part of me that really is scared. There's a part of me that really doesn't like it, especially underneath the cliffs. Because I don't know why. It was just weird. It was really scary, really vulnerable. And I said, okay, I'm going to be really vulnerable, and I'm going to swim out to underneath the cliffs. And I remember I was having anxiety. I had to like breathe really deeply because of how cold the water was, but also how scared I was. And I would say that experience of genuinely being scared, like sincerely afraid, and like I can't be afraid because I know rationally this is fine. I'm totally fine. I don't even think there's any turtles in here. Right? And even if there was, they're not going to hurt me, right? No one ever got attacked by a turtle. So it's all in my head. And FYI, when I was a kid, I stepped on a snapping turtle, and I had a lot of really big snapping turtles in the lake I grew up on. So I have conditioning around this. Kev, when you ask me the question of are you afraid to step on the stage, it's weird because the answer is no in this moment, but I will tell you that walking up there and then actually being on the stage and then seeing the audience, I do get scared, but it's not nearly as scared as when I was swimming in that little pond. And so I don't know if I have a really good scale for fear, because I was nervous during the group coaching session we just had because it was uncomfortable, but I don't know if I would consider it scary. Which is interesting because I guess nervous and scary are kind of the same thing. But when you talk about, like, let's say, when you think about jumping on a stage with 500 people, like, does that scare you, the idea of that?
10 out of 10.
Okay.
I lose sleep, Alan. I literally lose sleep before events. I'm not even joking. Like, I lose sleep.
Okay.
Like, physically,
I get scared
feel
when it's happening.
Ill. You feel, okay.
I'll be scared on the stage.
What do you feel
when
the
it's
day
like,
before?
oh, okay, this is intense. This is like nerves.
What do you feel the day before?
Very relaxed. I feel nervous that the event will go astray.
Yeah, no, definitely. Same.
Which is a whole nother thing. But I'm not scared for my speech. Not really.
That's so interesting.
Maybe a little. You know, like, did I prep enough? Like, I don't know. I think I have a good relationship with feeling scared. Even before group coaching, like, you weren't scared at group coaching. I was more scared than you were.
Yeah, but I think that's because I know I I lead the podcast, you lead group coaching. I run it. It's mine.
It's mine.
You know?
Yeah.
But I you know what I bet? I'm probably more nervous before we do podcast episodes than you. Because I feel a sense of responsibility that this goes somewhat right.
Yeah, true.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it is nice to be able to kind of sit in the co-pilot. The co-pilot definitely, and I think that's a good lesson for this episode as well, which is everyone wants success, but do you want the responsibility that comes with that?
Mm.
You know, hosting an event is a perfect example. It's very different to go to an event and give a speech. But to have 50 people that you know, like, and trust, and that you want to have a magnificent experience, and have a 16-person team relying on you, and then making sure that everything goes right, it's a lot of, like, I think people want to achieve success without anxiety. I think they want to achieve success without fear. Mm. I was on the phone with a client earlier, this will land, and she's starting a blog. And she's been writing for 327 days as of today. She's sent me her writing. Mm. Unbelievable, by the way. Like, I've never seen someone that consistent at writing personally. I've never personally. Yeah, it's world class. And she's so scared to publish. She has her own domain name. She's ready to rock. She's so scared. The About Me is done. And I said, I drew a little diagram, very simple. I love drawing diagrams. At the bottom, it said, "This is who you are now." And then in the big middle part of the page, it was just FEAR, fear. And then I put 2 words. I put judgment and failure. And then I put at the top a star, and it wrote your dreams. And I said, just being very direct here, it is impossible to achieve your dreams without publishing this first blog post. Mm. Because you've written 327 days in a row, and that's great, and that's awesome, and I'll tell you what, it impresses the hell out of me, sincerely. I don't know if I could do that. I've tried. It's very challenging, writing my book. But if you don't publish it, it's impossible. All of your dreams that we've talked about are literally impossible. And I said, I want you to be more afraid of not achieving your dreams than of criticism and of failure. And so we wrote out this list, 1 column down, or 2 columns, 1 line down the page. I said, what's going to happen if you post the blog post? She said, or no, the first column was don't. What's going to happen if you don't post it? She wrote like 4 bullets, or we did together. One was, I won't get criticized. I won't have to be vulnerable and feel vulnerable. She used feel. I won't have to feel vulnerable. And I won't achieve my dreams. And then there was one other bullet, I forget what. I'll never know. Something like that. And then the next one was, I will get criticized, was one of the bullets. If I do publish it, I will have to feel vulnerable, aka anxiety or fear. And then it was, I might achieve my dreams. And go back to that original diagram of, this person now, big fear in the middle, and then dreams on the top of the page. I drew an arrow to the big fear in the middle, and I said courage and vulnerability. Courage and vulnerability. If you can't be courageous and vulnerable, you cannot achieve your dreams. And I swear to you, Kev, when I was with Emilia, I said, I'm so scared right now. Which is weird for her to see me like that, because it's just a little pond. But I really was very, very scared, almost to the point where it's like I'm like mad at myself that I'm even irrationally afraid right now because it makes no sense. And I said, I'm just going to be vulnerable and I'm just going to swim out. And I swam out on my back. And even when I'm there, you're underneath this massive rock face and it's really intimidating. It's very scary and it's completely pitch black because you're under the shade of this rock face and you can't see down whatsoever. You know, and if anything touches my freaking feet, even if it's a fish at that point, I am going to lose my shit, right? Sorry for cursing.
Sorry for cursing.
I'm sorry for cursing. But seriously, that's what I think vulnerability is feeling that anxiety, feeling that fear, and then just being like, I'm going to do this even though feel the fear and do it anyway. And I wrote that on the Remarkable earlier when I was on the phone with the client. Feel the fear and just do it anyway. And I had her promise me. I said, by the next time we speak in 2 weeks, are you going to promise me that you'll publish? It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be good, but you have to promise me you're going to publish. And she said, yeah. But it was after some tears, you know? So kudos to her, and she's getting outside her comfort zone. It sucks. And I think I'll turn this around with a question to you, Kev. I think getting outside your comfort zone, I think it sucks, but I think it's worth it. But I do think we have to acknowledge that it sucks. I think a lot of people try to make it sound like it's awesome, and I think that's doing people a disservice. It's not awesome. It's terrible.
You know, it sucks.
You know, it really does kind of suck. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
But it always ends up worth it, and I think that's the key. So before we go here, I want to ask you a question. What is your experience? I guess. What is your experience? What would you do outside your comfort zone if it wasn't for? What did you do to get outside your comfort zone back when you didn't have goals?
Hi everyone, my name is Amanda. I am a dental hygienist and a mom of 2 teenagers. I was first introduced to Kevin and Alan about 3 years ago, where I listened to a live Zoom training. I was really impressed with the value that they packed into that hour-long call, and that led me to their podcast page. I've been blessed to be able to be a student of them in that way through their podcast over the last 3 years, and the growth that I've seen in them, I guess, is what inspires me to keep coming back, because they not only talk the talk, but they walk the walk, and I see the changes in them, weekly, monthly, yearly. So that led me to book a consultation with Alan about 6 months ago, and I showed up to that call in the lowest spot that I've been at in my entire life. The empathy and compassion that he presented in that call and how much work we still got done despite the state that I was in was, again, very impressive to me, and I've been a one-on-one client ever since. Alan is someone that you want in your corner. I have grown so much over the past 6 months in my ability to make decisions, my confidence, the relationships that I have, my organization, my motivation, and I'm only just getting started. I've made so many big moves, and he is the biggest motivator and the biggest encourager, and he is a good human that genuinely wants the best in your life, your future, your love, your relationships, your wealth, and they just want to make the world a better place, and I believe that. And if you have the chance to be in the same room or on the same call or have these two in your life in any way, then you are blessed, and it is a gift. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for everything that you guys do and pour into everyone, and I'm just so excited to watch your journey keep unfolding and to be a part of that in any way that I can.
I had smaller goals. I remember one of the key points in my life, it was such a weird time for me, is when I was very single and very lonely, and I was like, I need to overcome this fear of rejection. So I just started going on a lot of dates. And that was me getting out. Like, I would literally try something new every time I went on a date. Like, I would try a different conversation starter. I would try like different, not jokes, but like I would just try to be more confident. I would try to just be a different, more evolved version of Kevin. And that all started with me going to the mall I thought to myself, okay, there's a mall down the street. I'm going to go to the mall. I'm going to go into a store and I'm going to just start approaching women and start talking to them. Because I'm sick of being so afraid of it. I'm sick of that running my life. Like that, it just felt like it was running my life. So I had a goal to be more courageous. But it's so brutal. It's so brutal. It's so brutal. This is the best way to explain it. If you want to be a speaker, this is what I'll tell you. And again, I am terrified every time I speak. So please do not look at me as a speaker who's stepped on stage in front of people and been paid a fair amount of money to speak, which is awesome. But our last event, the music plays, and so just imagine you're looking at the stage, right? So you're looking at the stage, the stairs are on the left of the stage. You walk up on the left of the stage, you step up on the stage, and you're there. The second I step up on the stage, I literally thought to myself, this is the worst ever. Like, I am so afraid. And then I said to myself, but this is what being alive feels like. Like, I feel alive right now. Like, anything could go wrong. It's that weird thing. But I think that there's levels that, like, we have a turn-off switch. So, Taryn, we're going to Colorado at the end of the month. And she's like, babe, I really want to do hot air ballooning. And I was like, nope, 0% chance. Not going to do it. Can't do it. Physically can't do it. I looked up stats. It is way safer than flying in a plane. I was like, I'm in. The numbers say I'm in. I'll do that with you, babe. And she's like, you know what else I want to do? I want to go paragliding. And I was like, I physically can't do that. Like that's beyond my comfort zone. I can't do it.
By the way, look up the stats on that one. Not safer than a hot air balloon.
I won't. That's why I didn't look up the stats.
Yeah.
But that's like too far outside of my comfort zone. There are like no's. Like there are a lot of things that are just no. I physically don't know if I'm capable of doing that. For the plane, for the longest time, that's what it was. But when Copeland reached out to me and said, hey, I'm going to England, it was the right place. I had enough momentum. And I was like, yeah, I think I can do that. I remember, and this was an interesting thing, 2 nights before, and if Andrew is listening to this, he'll be laughing. 2 nights before we're supposed to leave, I was like, man, I'm looking forward to getting home. I hope the flight's not too long. You know, what are you going to do when we get home Saturday? And he's like, we're not going home till Sunday. I was like, no, we're going home Saturday. My ticket says Saturday. He's like, oh, no, you booked the wrong, I told you to book the wrong day. And I was like, no, you didn't, man. Don't kid with me right now. He's like, no, I'm leaving a day after you. So we ended up staying, I think it was at one of his relatives' house. I think it's called a flat near the O2 Arena in London. And it's like an hour train ride or something to the airport. So I had to take a train. I woke up at like 4 a.m, walking through the streets of England by myself.
With your podcast equipment.
With my podcast equipment, yeah. I had 2 bags. I get on the tube.
One of them is like 50 pounds.
Very heavy.
You.
Yes.
Yeah.
In an international airport. Second time I've ever been on a plane. So that was the whole thing. So I'm literally dragging my bag. There's no buses that early. It's like 4 a.m. I'm walking down the streets of London. And I go to the tube, which is the underground subway. And it's like, I got to take this to this thing. And then I got to get off this train and get on another train to take it directly to the train station, to the airport. And then when I get to the airport, I don't know what I'm doing. I've been through security 1 time before this. Like, I don't know. Where do I check my bag? I have no clue what I'm doing. But I remember the night before, I was sleeping on this like seeping air mattress that was just seeping air out. And I remember I couldn't go to sleep because I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I do not know if I'm humanly capable of doing what I have to do tomorrow. But there is no other option. Like, I have to. That was like the very outside of my comfort zone. Not even my comfort. That was way outside of my comfort zone. But if that was a flight from Massachusetts to England, I probably wouldn't have done it. I would have said, it's $500. Like, just eat it. I don't care.
Just eat the
But
$500.
I wasn't ready to live in England yet. So I had to come home. You know, I had responsibilities here. So
there is a good lesson there. I know we got to go. But Kev, your fear of living in England was greater than your fear of coming home.
Yeah.
You know, honestly.
I had a job. Sometimes I had responsibilities. I had a job and stuff. I couldn't just move.
I know. And I think that there's something to that too. I think the fear in group coaching, the fear of letting the team down or letting yourself down again is greater than your fear of tracking habits or of going on those sessions. And
there's a lot of uncertainty. if you've never done coaching, it's like you're jumping in a group and it's you and I, and there's other people in the group who have already done it. So it's like, I think it's just it's a very interesting dynamic. But I think that is the lesson for me is, and I know we've talked about this many times, but even when I say that example, it's like at one point, dude, this is another thing. When I was younger, I don't know, maybe like 7 or 8, my mom took me to Florida. First time I'd ever been on a plane. When we got to Florida, I literally tried to convince her to drive home. The whole entire time. I have this like deathly fear of planes. It's like way bigger than you think. My fear of planes is way bigger than you think it is, yeah. I've already started watching videos on planes, and we're not leaving for another 3 weeks. I'm already like researching, 2 weeks. I'm researching like, what does this turbulence mean? I'm terrified of planes. Like 10 out of 10.
That's so interesting.
10 out of 10. I try to convince my mom. Remember? All right, last thing, because we'll stay here all day. Alan and I went to Florida, and we were supposed to come home. Remember this? And our flight got canceled, and I was like, screw it, let's just drive. I'll just drive us.
Yeah, we're gonna rent a car.
You know, it'll be cheaper. I'll just drive
Let's
us.
grab a Hertz, and then there's a Hertz up in Mass. We can drop it off there.
Yeah.
They're a national company.
I was like, Alan, I'll just drive the whole way. I'll just stay up all night and drive. We'll get there even earlier. And we almost did it. We were at the point where
we were so close.
I think it was only going to save us like 2 hours or something. And I was like, but that's how much. Yeah, it's still very outside of my comfort zone.
So interesting.
But it's less than it's ever been. So that's like that's the weird give and take. Like speaking is way outside of my comfort zone, but it's way less than it's ever been. So I think that's the through line. That's the lesson kind of is you're not. It's the chicken or the egg. If you don't face the first fear, you don't get to see the second one. Because the second one looks way bigger. It's this weird, the way the world is set up, the way life is set up, the way growth, evolution, next levelness is set up. It's weird. It's a strange thing.
So through line, get out of your comfort zone and have reasons to do that. Very last thing I know we'll go. I asked Emilia when we first started dating, I said, can you grow without challenge? She said, no, of course not. And I said, can you have challenge without any pain? Physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual? She said, no, of course not. I think and I said, why are we avoiding the one thing that's required for growth? And I'm not like saying no pain, no gain, pain, masochist. No. What I'm saying is discomfort is required. And if you don't know that, you're not going to grow. And your dreams are not possible without discomfort. I really believe that.
Yeah.
Your dream relationship, your dream body. I did a 5K this Saturday. It was so uncomfortable. Not emotionally, but like physically, it was really, the last mile I really tried to crank because the first 2 miles I was with Emilia. And honestly, at one point, and I wasn't trying to be unkind to her, but at one point I was literally running backwards, like kind of waiting for her, right? Which I'm sure didn't make her feel great, but we were having fun with it. And I'm like, babe, I'm going to crank this last mile out. She's like, yeah, go. And I started cranking past a bunch of people, got so winded, man. Struggle bus. Absolutely, immediately struggling. It's like 90 degrees out. So it was very uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable. And the person with the best time, I looked it up, it's a woman. She averaged a 6:40 pace. My 1 mile time. So a 5K is essentially like 3 miles. My 1 mile time was last time I did it 7:05. So it's like I have some serious work to do because we're doing this next year. And I was like, yeah, I think maybe it's possible for me to win it. And we'll see. But like, and I do think it's possible. Whether or not I want to do that and actually train for it is another question. But it's just, you cannot achieve great things without discomfort. I really just don't believe it's true. Emotional discomfort, physical discomfort, spiritual discomfort, mental discomfort. It is required. Just choose what is worth it. Fear chase, get outside your comfort zone. And this was an interesting one, Kev. Good one.
Yeah, it was good. It's good. I think we're trying to... You'd think after 1,031 episodes we would know what we're doing, but I think we're trying to figure out how to be better at this. Like, do we come with points? Do we just come with stories? Do we kick it back to hyperconscious days and just kind of like show up with an idea and see what happens? I don't know. At the end of the day, we want to make sure it's the most valuable possible, and I feel like episodes like this are the good ones. But I also
Same.
don't know. It could. I'm just probably so tired that anything would seem good at this point. So it could.
No,
really,
I think this was good. I really
You
do.
know?
I think everyone to some extent struggles with this.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
And I always want to be honest about that.
Of course.
Like I
same.
might post a picture of me looking, with my hair done and looking nice on stage, but like just know under that I'm like, is anybody even listening? Like, does anybody even did anybody even come here to hear me? Is anybody even listening? So yeah, okay. I don't know what episode's dropping tomorrow. Full disclosure, because again, this week has been very Jeff because of group coaching. So I know our last live podcast was why you should stop running from your past. So it would be the Q&A version of that. So it's definitely something along the lines of, I don't know, something along the lines of like, why can I expect to learn valuable lessons from the past or something like that? So it's us talking about you getting through your past and making sure you visit it because it's super important. And at the end of the day, you can't outrun your past. It's always attached to you in some way, shape, or form. And if you are somebody who is thinking to yourself, you know what? I do want to get outside of my comfort zone. And I want to do that by connecting with people who I know are like-minded, who I know I can be vulnerable with. I said this to somebody recently. Somebody reached out to me and said, hey, I love the podcast. I left a review or I downloaded the free course, whatever it was. But I'm super introverted and I feel like I'm socially awkward and I don't know what to do. And I said, I want you to go to Next Level Nation. I want you to sign up. You join. You just hit a button. There's no signing up. And I want you to introduce yourself. That's it. That's all you got to do. It doesn't have to be written, a video. It can literally be, hey, I'm blank. I'm new here. Thanks for having me. And that's a good way to get outside of your comfort zone. So if you're not in our private Facebook group, the link will be in the show notes, Next Level Nation, a good opportunity for you to get outside of your comfort zone. Get in it and introduce yourself. That is a nice, easy way to do it.
Also, if you've ever considered coaching before, group coaching is a great option, but so is one-on-one coaching. I was talking to Kevin earlier. Next Level Business Solutions, I have many, many clients, all different countries and different industries. It's been a truly magnificent journey. But maybe getting a one-on-one coach is outside your comfort zone. Maybe you're scared. Maybe you're intimidated. I promise you it's going to be more valuable than you think. Give it a shot. You can book a half an hour. Reach out to myself or Amy, my executive admin. And there will also be a link in the show notes to literally book a free half an hour on my calendar. I love to meet the listeners, and I'm not going to sell you anything. My only goal is going to be help you maximize your potential and greatest level of contribution. And I love to meet the listeners. So please reach out. If you've ever wondered what coaching might be like, that will be a good free taste of what it's like to have a coach in your corner. It's kind of like a fighter who needs the right person in their corner for when they're beaten up and when they're struggling to achieve their goals. And that's what I want to be. I want to be in your corner.
And also, if you're listening, please feel free to reach out and let us know. Do you like this style of episode better than when we come super prepared with stories, or do you like something like this where it's more of freestyle, us going back and forth trying to figure out the answers to life? Really, that's kind of what this episode felt like. So let us know. You can DM myself at NeverQuickKid, Alan A Lazaros 88 on Instagram. Reach out via email, whatever it is. So any feedback, you know us, we're big on feedback, and I feel like I haven't been asking for much feedback. So anything you have, I'd love to hear it, just so we can make sure this is the most valuable. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Please reach out.